For 5 painful years, I grinded away 99% of my free time, yet I still only hit like 2% of my goals. Eventually I realized that the issue wasn't doing enough, but simply eliminating the focus killers that were blocking my progress. And as a result, for the past 3 years, I've constantly achieved over 91% of my goals with effortless 6 to 13 hours a day of focus. So in this video, I'm going to show you the 8 focus killers and the simple steps that I've refined over years to quickly eliminate them so you can finally succeed at over 90% of your goals too. To start, let me show you how to quit any social media scrolling permanently using a method that even works on drug addictions. So I want you to imagine your focus sort of like a fuel tank of a motorcycle. And obviously, if there's fuel in this motorcycle, you can move forward. And that's when you're actually achieving your goals, when you're moving forward. But every single time you open Instagram or TikTok or whatever social media, and you're like, oh, I'll just scroll for a minute, you pop a little hole into the brain and your gas starts leaking out. But just a few minutes, that doesn't matter, right? Just a little leak, you lose a little gas, okay, you can still keep moving forward. But then the algorithm feeds you like another clickbait thing, another thing that can spike your dopamine, and you pop another hole, you pop another hole, you pop another hole for 2 hours, and then you eventually pop like a fucking big ass gaping hole for scrolling. You didn't just lose the time, you also drained your mental fuel, so you can no longer move forward or no longer make progress in your goals. And basically, now your brain, your gas tank is completely full of holes, and that's gonna take time to repair. So it's gonna destroy your progress for I don't know, fucking months or however long it takes you to repair your brain. So how can you actually stop scrolling? Here are the 2 things that I did that actually finally worked. First thing is to just delete all your apps. Obviously, I know you don't want to do this. I know you've probably heard this before, but if you just uninstall it, that friction of reinstalling it or using a browser, having to like use a browser, is probably good enough to stop you. Unless you're like really fucking addicted. And that's where you go into the second step. And this is what I call the replacement method, which again uses the same principles as drug addiction. It's to gradually reduce week by week the stimulation. So in scrolling, in the first week, this would be something like, oh, you still scroll. You can scroll the entire time, whatever. But you like clean up your feed. So there's like less clickbait shit, less like super brain rot shit. Then in the next week, you switch to more like, I don't know, long form content. So you could just be just watching YouTube only. And then in the next week after that, you just keep scaling it down for weeks and weeks and weeks until you've completely replaced the scrolling with something that's actually productive, like your work that you want to accomplish, your goal that you want to accomplish, exercise, learning, something like that. And the key here is just right now, make your plan, actually write it down. And then depending on how addicted you are, this could take anywhere between just 3 weeks, just based on science, or up to 9 weeks. And with that, you'll likely have plugged your biggest focus drain by stopping that mindless scrolling. But there's another focus killer, notifications. Even if you're not actively scrolling, the notifications chip away at your ability to make progress. They chip away at your focus. So let me show you how to silence them for good. Now imagine you're like in your room or something, trying to read this nice book. $100 million offers. Honestly, very good book. If you haven't read it and you want to learn about business, you should read it. You're reading this book in your room, but as you're also stuck in your room, there's somebody in like another room that randomly yelled your name every single 30 seconds, like straight up screams it. Obviously annoying as fuck, right? There's no way you can concentrate on reading. You retain nothing and you just can't focus. Well, that's exactly what your notification does to your focus. Legit. You know how your phone, like, it keeps on buzzing, and it actually also lights up usually? So like, oh, catches your eye and then it breaks your focus because you want to look at it. But if it took you like 15 minutes to actually get locked in or focused on whatever task you want to do, well, now those notifications just broke your focus and you're reset. You have to like refocus again. You just wasted all your time getting focused and your momentum constantly gets broken and your progress obviously gets fucked. So how do you finally control the notifications? Here are the 3 simple steps that I personally use. The first step is to use modes. So if you're on Android, and I'm sure iOS also has this, I haven't used an iPhone in a long time, but there's modes that you can set up, like you can just call it study mode or work mode, where you can just set a specific way that you want to get notifications. You can set apps or set people to let them to have notifications and just block everything else. Or even better yet, just use do not disturb 24/7. This is what I do. I've been doing it for 3 years and it hasn't fucked me over. So I think that is the best. And you can just manually also in do not disturb set certain people that you want to get notifications from. And the second step is to turn off non-essential notifications. So these are things like game notifications or anything like that. Because if you have do not disturb, they still like pop up as a banner notification, or your email especially. If you just unsubscribe on anything that's fucking stupid or turn off any notifications from the apps that don't help you or you really never need notifications from, because like 99% of the notifications are shit. So you just turn all of them off. And step 3 is to just batch. So you want to pick a specific day every single day to check your notifications. I usually do this like before lunch or any extended period of time that I'm going to have, like before I exercise or before dinner. Just respect your own time, a specific time, because you shouldn't be available 24/7. Protect your focus. With all those 3 steps, you have handled all your notifications, but there's another focus killer that often actually gets praised as a skill, but it secretly fragments your focus and then fucks your efficiency over. Let me show you how to avoid the trap of fake multitasking. So people say multitasking is bullshit, but the truth is you can multitask, but only on certain things. The real focus killer is just not setting up your multitasking correctly. So imagine you're playing a game. I'm sure you've seen like those puzzle rooms in the game. If you step on it in the right combination, all the loot pours out instantly. So if you imagine all these plates in front of you as the tasks needed to finish, and then each gate opening as the results flowing out. So the gold is the results. First, you try to stand on all 3 plates, and this doesn't really work because it's not the right combination. So you just decide to step on 2, and oh shit, this doesn't work either. So you finally just step on 1, and then oh shit, the gold does come out, at least of this first gate. But from the dopamine spike from that, you're like, you're feeling good. So you decide to, let's try to step on both of these at once again. And then oh shit, it actually does work. So here's the secret. Each of the pressure plates or each task that you have has a minimum amount of focus energy that it needs to produce any results, produce any gold. And by splitting your focus incorrectly between tasks, or essentially incorrectly multitasking, you get 0 results because you don't meet the threshold. So how can you stop fake multitasking and get maximum results every single time? There's 3 simple steps that I personally use. And the first step is to estimate task load. And as an example, let's say you have 3 tasks here, and the first one is to listen to a podcast with full retention. That's for like probably 50% of your focus. The second task is to like simple data entry, copy pasting some bullshit. This probably doesn't take much brain power, maybe 30%. And the last task is to build an entire website. This takes 100% of your brain power. With those estimations of how much focus that you take, you go into step 2, which is to batch fill tasks. Your brain obviously only has 100% focus that it can dedicate to anything. So a good example is if you batch these 2 together, like the podcast plus data entry, and that would be like 80% of your brain's power. So you can handle it and get the results from it. A bad example would be like a website plus trying to listen to podcasts at the same time. That's like 150%, and you won't actually get anything from the podcast. You won't retain anything and get no progress from really either one. So you need to go into step 3, which is to practice and refine. A lot of people, they misjudge the initial estimation. And a good example is the podcast again, because a lot of people say like, oh yeah, the podcast is pretty passive, and they listen to the background and they think it only needs like 10% of their brain power, but they fail to retain anything. They remember nothing, they learn nothing, because to actually get the information, you need much more focus. So don't fool yourself, and learn from your underestimations over time and sort of test yourself to see if you really get results. And then with that, you'll be multitasking the right way, focusing on the perfect number of tasks to get maximum results. But what if the biggest focus killer isn't external, but inside your own brain, trapping your progress before you even start? Let me show you a step-by-step way to always break free from analysis paralysis and then make decisions. So imagine you're starting a hike. So you're here at the bottom of the mountain, and there's a bunch of different trails that you could possibly take all over the mountain, maybe starting from this point. But instead of starting a hike, of just picking one and starting, you spend hours analyzing every single possibility. You're like, oh, what if this one's too steep? Or what if there's fucking bears there? Or what is the one for optimal calorie burn? I see 2 fucking like gray clouds in the sky. I should check the weather again. Or you like recheck your gear, you read some more reviews, you compare different trails, you look at different maps endlessly. But by the time you're finished doing all that bullshit, it's already fucking nighttime and you have way more problems to worry about now. And overthinking does the exact same things to your goals. There's always going to be uncertainty until you actually take action. But you overthink because you don't know. So the trick is to trust the information that you do know and then just move. So how do you consistently just go while always making the right decision? Because, there's going to be uncertainty. Here's my 5-step method. First step is to just write the criteria, like quickly jot down what matters most to you based on your internal thoughts, like not considering really any options yet. because this is the best way to base your decisions from yourself, because this is what you know best. Then, now you want to look at your different external options, so you quickly jot down the pros and cons of everything. So you go to step 3 now, which is to eliminate the options. So let's just say, like, based on your criteria, you look in looking at the pros and cons, like option D didn't really fit, option A didn't really fit. So you cross those ones out, and now you're stuck with just 2 different options. And usually you want to try to just make sure there's 2 or 3 left. So you go to step 4, which is to visualize your outcomes. So now with your last 2 choices, try to just like think long term. What would it look like? Like if it was a hike, maybe imagine yourself doing the hike. If it's building some kind of website, imagine what it would look like in your brain and how it would look long term, or how it would change your goals long term. And pick the one that you think matches what you want the most, or what vision you think is the best or the easiest. And just trust your instincts here. It's usually right. So let's just say it was option B. And then you go to step 5, which is to 100% commit. So don't second guess, because if you try to like look at another trail, look at another goal, look at another decision, look at another option, that's just pulling you away. That's another like analysis paralysis. You're going to keep going backwards and taking away from the results that you could be getting from just committing to this one option. And with that, you'll stop overthinking and start making progress. But now, what if there's suddenly too much to do? You actually have too much on your plate. You get overwhelmed, right? And this wrecks your focus. Let me show you exactly how you can kill overwhelm for good. The next focus killer. So imagine sitting down, you're ready to be pretty productive. You look at your to-do list and there's one big task there. Build a successful business. Instantly your brain fucking short circuits. You're like, holy fuck, how do I even do that? Like, what kind of business do I start? How do I even make money? Do I have enough money? What about the website? What about the logo? What about the business name? All this random stuff. Completely overwhelmed. Like 10 minutes later, you end up just like mindlessly scrolling on Instagram because you're like, your brain can't think anymore. And you make 0 progress. Putting huge goals on your to-do list instantly kills your focus because it's simply too big. You literally can't see the entire thing at once. And if you can't see it at once, you can't do it. So how do you kill overwhelm for good? Here are the 3 simple steps that I use. And the first step is to learn to make real tasks. For example, if your big goal feels too big, like build a website, which is likely too big for you, you break it down into things like, just do the outline of the website, of the outline of the homepage structure or something like that. Or you just write the headline of the website. Or if you're totally cooked, your brain's super fucked, you want to break these tasks down so small. It's literally open Squarespace or something like that. Literally just opening it, nothing else as the task. And after you learn that or have a fuck ton of tasks and a fuck ton of goals, you want to go into step 2, which is to create a will-do list and write legit every single goal, every single task that you have in this list. Hopefully somewhere electronic, or somewhere you can just easily update is best. And just keep it somewhere safe. Don't really do anything with it yet. And step 3 is every day identify your 1 to 3 to-dos that are highest impact and you can get done all in one day. And you just pull this from your will-do list. And every single day make like a new to-do list. This instantly removes the pressure from like the endless to-do list. Also, of course, you no longer have these super big goals that fuck you over, overwhelm you. And once you finish, let's say you do actually finish all 3 of these tasks, if and only if you still have energy, then you can go to your just will-do list again and add a couple of more and finish it. Or you can just use that remaining time, make a new to-do list for tomorrow, and then just go like get some rest or something, do whatever for the rest of the day. Okay, so with that, your days are now planned, focused, clear, and also doable, but opportunities are legit everywhere. Every single day you see like a new fucking 12-year-old that's a millionaire with some new weird business model, like using AI, dropshipping, SMA, whatever, but you can only pick one. You can only do one. Let me show you exactly how you can spot the single most valuable opportunity for you right now to stay focused so you don't get fucking killed and make no progress. So imagine your peak focus time and energy as a fortress that is protecting your most valuable treasure, progress to your goals. But every single time you say yes to some random request, like, I don't know, a family get together or some random friend has this business idea that's super good, but doesn't directly serve your main objective, you're willingly lowering your drawbridge to your fortress to let people come in and steal your treasure. Why would you want to do that? Obviously, it feels good saying yes to everything. You feel like you're grabbing the most opportunities, living your life to the fullest. But you realize that your fortress vault is empty. Like, you make no progress now. Instead, you're giving your progress away, helping other people make progress to their goals, not your own. So how do you protect your treasure, protect your progress? There's 3 simple steps that I use. And the first step is to know your one goal. Get like a crystal clear vision of your primary objective in your entire life. And that will guide every single decision. It will tell you exactly what you want to put your treasure towards, what you want to actually make progress on, and tell you whether to actually let your drawbridge down or not, or basically prevent people from just stealing your progress. Obviously, this is easier said than done. If you don't have a goal right now, your goal is to find a goal. And I do have a video on this as like how to make 2025 your most productive or something. But either way, then you want to go into step 2, which is to apply a relevance filter. So you want to ask every single time something pops up or somebody asks you something, you ask yourself, does this directly move me closer to my one goal? Does this get me closer to my star? And if it is a no, then that means there's somebody trying to steal your treasure and you shouldn't do it. And if it's a yes, obviously, then you let your drawbridge down and then you can spend that treasure to probably get more treasure, make more progress towards your goals. But you don't want to just say no to everything, right? When you're going to have fun. But remember why you're watching this. You're watching this because you want to make more progress. If you want to make the most progress, you want to say no to everything that doesn't make progress. And just realize, after you've made the progress and you've made what you wanted to make, or if you made like a good amount of progress that you're satisfied with, then you can go do other things, mix in some other things. But right now you want to make the most progress. So just say no to everything. Okay, your progress is now protected. But even when you're working on the right tasks all the time, making the most progress, it feels like it's draining all your energy, and you sometimes feel like you're making no progress. Why? Let me show you how you can never get stuck on any task again. So my uncle's actually a programmer, and for years and years he was like trying to build like the next Facebook or some shit, build the next best app. But every single time he gets an idea and he starts to work on it, he spends years and years on it. He obviously makes some good progress in the beginning, but eventually, he stagnates. And then somebody actually comes up with the idea already, and he's like, oh fuck, someone stole it. So he just tries again, starts another app. He doesn't let anybody touch his goals, and he just keeps working on it for years, trying to make the absolute perfect app to like destroy Facebook. And he's like, oh fuck, it happened again, someone stole my idea. So what is the answer? How do you stop getting stuck like this? 80-20, right? No. Actually, 80-20 is bullshit. Because oftentimes, good enough is an excuse for people to just be lazy, and they usually just slack off from this. So how can you consistently deliver work that's actually perfect, at least in your own eyes, without draining all your energy every single time? Here's my simple 4-step method. And I legit use this exact thing, what I call the A+ rule, to get a 4.0 GPA in university. If you're not from the US, that is a perfect score, while barely working 2 hours per day. And the first step is to define your work. Define what A+ is. So if you had a rubric before for a project, it basically describes the minimum requirements to achieve a certain number of points, or to basically achieve A+ level work. So you want to do that with your goals. Basically define what A+ level work is, every single metric, just like in school. And then step 2 is to never go beyond A+. There is no A++. There's already 100%. You can't add another plus. So you want to pour all your energy into hitting an A+, but never go beyond. Just barely hit the A+, because anything beyond it is a waste of time, because it actually doesn't yield anything good. And step 3 is quick fix flexibility. So obviously you can't predict like every single little fucking detail to get an A+ right from the beginning and know exactly what to do. So after completing your A+ work, you want to quickly just check against your rubric that you initially made, your initial criteria, to make sure you're actually hitting every single one. And then if something major is off, obviously fix it if you notice anything that's not A+. But then stop there and go to step 4, which is to stop at the fixes. This is exactly where most people fuck up, and they waste like fucking 20 hours picking like the perfect font or like the perfect color for like this little tiny thing, because it might do something better. But they don't know. You don't know. Stick with your original A+ definition. If it's not there, then ignore it. Because once you're done, you're done. And just send it off to the real world to see if you get real results. And honestly, the real world will clearly tell you what actually needs adjusting. So now you're actually putting your work out there, getting results, instead of literally polishing it down to nothing until there's like nothing left and you just fail. But even with perfectionism handled, there's still one focus killer out there that is also psychological, that is stealing away your drive to make progress, making you feel like shit, comparing yourself to others. Although the real problem is not comparing yourself or competition, because that's a good thing. The real problem is deep down, you know you actually are a piece of shit. But everyone starts out as a loser, which is a good thing. as you will understand. So let me show you exactly how you can stop being a loser, stop being a piece of shit, and instead become a person that everyone wants to compare themselves against. So I really think there's only like 2 types of people. Like this person, when they see this shit like this and see super ultra giga Chad with the 5 bitches and the Lamborghini and 3 Rolexes, they get inspired by it. And they're like, oh fuck yeah, you know, I can get those things too. And then there's the other type of person who sees all these things, they're like, oh fuck you, they get all angry, depressed, and like envious and all this shit like that. Well, there's actually just one thing that separates these 2 types of people. Maybe you can guess at what it is because I sort of hinted at it. But the answer is that this person here that actually gets inspired is making progress. So they believe that they can eventually get this stuff one day. While this person, they make no progress and they never even try to make progress. Therefore, that's why they all feel all fucked up and angry and shit. So how do you start actually making enough progress for yourself? So when you look at all this stuff and see Ultra Giga Chad with all his good results, you get inspired and that multiplies your progress. Here's the simple 3-step process that I use. The first step is, okay, if you're a loser right now, actually be happy that you are a loser. Because seriously, think about it. If you are already perfect, making as much progress as you possibly could, and you have no room to improve now, and you don't yet have all these results, well then fuck, that's actually so fucking fucked up. But if you are a loser, then you have so much room to improve. Then holy fuck, right? Endless room to level up, get these results. So it is a good thing that you are still a loser in the fact that you have no results. So then you go into step 2, which is to analyze winners. So every single time you see Ultra Giga Chad and all these things, you want to see like, oh, like what the fuck mindset did he have to get that? What business strategy did he use? What business did he start? Like, could I do that? Do I even want that? Or maybe something similar, like maybe you don't want 5 bitches, maybe just one good one, right? So analyze all these things, and with all that information, you go into step 3, which is to measure against your past self and actually start applying it. So you want to aim to improve like 1% every single day. Obviously, just the 1% a day is just a saying, but if you at least do one productive thing that requires deep focus, that's probably like 1%, like even if you can't measure it, and then you're good enough. And if you literally just do the math on what 1% improvement is, it literally comes out to like 11 point something X improvement. And obviously, every single year, if you're basically 10xing, you're going to get insane results, right? From those results, you're going to go to the moon, you're going to achieve your goals, you're going to get the things that you want. So now comparing yourself to others will actually boost your focus and progress instead of killing it. But just removing roadblocks isn't enough, right? Eventually, at some point, you actually have to do the work if you want to make real progress. So how do you actually train your brain to do actual work without complicated productivity bullshit? What if I told you by strategically actually reducing your focus, you can start outworking everybody? Well, you actually can by watching this video next, and I'll show you exactly how you can use the defocus effect to make 10x more progress for every single minute that you do focused work.